My people, welcome back to your favorite You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. My people, this week an international DJ who is cycling across Canada. Can you believe this? In winter? My people, welcome to this week's episode, You and I Talk with Jabig. Jabig, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're alive. I didn't think you would make it. So you're cycling across Canada.
Yes, I am.
On top of being an international DJ.
Yeah, so basically I decided, let me, in every professional, people take sabbaticals. And I said, I've been DJing this all my adult life. Let me take a break and do something for myself. And I pursued a personal challenge and I said, oh, why not cross Canada, in fixed gear?
Wow. So explain to people, let's start with the fixed gear thing. Explain to people, what does fixed gear mean? Because we have the bike over here. It's so dirty. It looks like... And then this is your second bike. Toronto people stole your bike.
Okay, right. Toronto people get offended when I say Toronto because it's actually outside of Toronto, in Burlington. So a fixed gear bicycle is basically a bike that has one gear and the pedals never stop, meaning as far as the bicycle is moving, the pedals are turning, which means that uphill the pedals are turning, downhill the pedals are turning, so you never stop pedaling. So that makes it extra challenging, and it's,
What do you mean you never stop pedaling? Like it has no brakes?
Mine has brakes. Typically, if I could, most of the time, I just brake by resisting. Some people think it's pedaling backwards, but I'm not pedaling backwards. I'm just preventing the pedals to go forward, and by that, the bike stops. So it's extra,
So you just thought it would be too easy to go across Canada on the bike. Let me just make it harder for me and do a fixed gear bike.
Yeah, why make something, complicated easy?
Oh my goodness. And so this is not the bike that you started with.
Yeah.
How was the original bike? And how expensive was it to lose that bike?
So basically, this ride I decided to go on the bicycle ride across Canada. But then I decided that I wanted to immortalize it because I could go across Canada and then people were going to say, oh yeah, of course you went across Canada. So I figured I need like an authority to sort of like credentialize it, if that's a word. And I contacted Guinness World Records and they said, well, I'd like to apply for Guinness World Record, which is and they said, okay, fine, you can just go for the longest distance in a single country. But they said that you have to use one bike. So basically, when my bike got stolen in Burlington, which is a city like almost 100 kilometers outside of Toronto, Torontonians like it when I say that because, they don't want to.
But does it still count? Did you tell the Guinness people that your bike got stolen, and are they still going to credit you for the whole journey?
So they said, as long as you get the same bicycle. So for instance, I had to get the same bike, but this bike was discontinued. So they had to go find it in some warehouse in Italy and ship it to Montreal, where they built me a new one, and somebody drove it, put it in his car and drove it all the way to Toronto. So, and Guinness said, well, because obviously when my bike got stolen, because it wasn't just my bike, it was my bike and my bags, which had my laptop, my passport, everything, like my cash, basically everything. So I was just wearing my cycling clothes, I was just like a man in tights with no bicycle. So, but Guinness said, well, we understand that happened. You just need to provide a police report, which I did anyway because when my passport got stolen, I had to declare it.
Wow.
So it's the same bike I had, it's the same bike, same color, same everything.
So this is what DJs do when the time off?
Well, because DJs, we work at night. During the day, we have a lot of free time. And in my free time, I cycle. So then last year I cycled, I was cycling and then I realized that from June to September, I'd cycled 6,000 kilometers. And in my mind, I remember telling myself, oh my goodness, that's just like from Vancouver to Halifax. And I was like, And that's where the idea came about.
Wow. But you live in Montreal, though. So did you have to, where does the journey officially start?
Well, I started in Montreal, rode all the way to St. John's, Newfoundland, and then turned around, and I came all the way to Vancouver, where I am right now. And I'm going to take a 2-week break, and then from there, just go north all the way to a town called Tuktoyaktuk, which is on the...
What?
Tuktoyaktuk. It's past Inuvik. It's on the Arctic Ocean. Because for me, people forget that Canada has 3 coasts. There's the Atlantic, Pacific, and the Arctic. So for me, I wanted to do for me, crossing Canada means going from Atlantic, Pacific, and then to the Arctic. I still crossed Canada because I went from Atlantic to the Pacific. But, there's the North that's out there.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's take a little short break, my people, and come back and keep cycling. With Louise UWACU, we love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back, still talking to international DJ Ja Big. So you're so popular. I love your music. I've known you for a very long time. I've been following your work, and I love your music and everything that you put together. And you have so many fans. You have millions of fans, especially on YouTube.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know what I do, but I guess there's people, quite many people like my music. And what happened is that I just started sharing recordings. I actually don't sit at home and make the music. The actual real recordings from my live sets out there. So basically, whenever I'm performing, for instance, while I'm in Vancouver, I'm going to be performing. While I'm DJing, I just press record and I share it on YouTube later on. And it turns out that, it takes another life of its own from there.
Yes, because it makes people feel so great. I've been to your live DJing parties in Montreal. It's always so great. So it's like you're bringing people to your party, even though they never been to your party. You're bringing them there, So you're also DJing whenever you can in some cities.
Yes, because initially I wanted to make this bicycle journey a DJ tour. Okay, very quickly I realized that my bike can only, I can't be carrying around DJ equipment. And then I really forgot that cycling is tiring. And sometimes people will be like, are you interested in spinning? I'm like, actually, what I'm interested in is sleeping right now. I don't want to DJ. But in major cities or some specific cities, I'll take the time to take, for instance, a few days off so that I can be fresh for gigs.
Oh my goodness. And then I was following your story. I've been following your story online. I saw you hitchhiked. At some point you got into trouble. Yeah. And then you had to stand on the road and hitchhike.
Yeah, so basically I think, I got a little bit too brave. And because I'm actually not scared of snow or the weather, but the one thing that really makes my life difficult is the wind. Because I have one gear and most of the time I'm climbing, and the wind basically makes me go from 20 kilometers an hour, which is my average speed, to 15, which means that if I need to get somewhere, I'm not gonna make it. Because I promised my parents, my parents said, you're crazy, you're not going on this. I'm like, I'm going. And I said, okay, the one thing, promise us never to ride at night. So basically I don't ride at night. So one day I was just cycling and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be in the Rocky Mountains by the time night falls, and I'm going to be stuck because also I'm with a phone company that doesn't have signal in the Rocky Mountains. So I said, okay, I need to just turn around. So basically I stood on the side of the road and I pretty much profiled motorists. And when I saw the one guy, I'm like, I know he'll stop. And I just stuck my thumb up and he's like, where are you going? I just need to go back. And he gave me a ride.
Wow.
And then funny coincidence though, he was a guy originally from Montreal.
Oh my goodness.
How crazy is that?
So you guys started talking about Montreal.
Yeah, we're talking about Montreal, but the funny thing is that he's telling me about, because I'm a DJ and I know Montreal, and he's telling me about places, and I'm like, it's funny, I don't know these places. And then he tells me, yeah, I used to live in Montreal 40 years ago. I was like,
Okay.
I wasn't even born.
Things have changed since then.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what do you want to accomplish with your journey? Is it just about the Guinness? What is so good about being in the Guinness World Record for you?
Well, the Guinness World Record is really like I said, the Guinness World Record is just a way for me to say I've done it and to get, recognized for it. But
do people get money, by the way, when they get into the Guinness World?
No, you don't get money, but you get some perks that come with it. You've been in the Guinness. It's like a recognition. It's like an award. So but I don't care. I don't care. But the Guinness is good. It's just to tell my parents, okay, I got the Guinness. Are you happy now? But the reason I really went on this journey was something personal, because I can say that maybe I have a chip on my shoulder where I was never really the athletic person, but I found that in cycling, it's something I was really good at. And, I even got like professional cyclists who said, oh, for what you are doing, you're pretty good. Because the one thing, I really started cycling seriously 6 months before I started the trip. So I just want to prove to myself that I am not, as weak as the perception I have of myself. And, I said, let me just do something crazy.
So when you were growing up, did people bully you for not being like an athletic guy?
It wasn't bullying, but it was like, let me put it this way. I wasn't the guy, when the people picked teams.
Yeah.
Like, people picked me just because they knew they needed a DJ for their events.
Okay.
So they better pick me. But when I played, people would say, okay, Jean, why don't you go be goalkeeper? But even the goalkeeping, they were like, how about you just run around. Just run around, and then, So, I mean, and it's funny, it just turned out that it had nothing to do with my abilities, just that I was doing the wrong sports. Because it turns out that what I'm made for is endurance, and, anything that takes long distance and endurance, that's my forte. Although I really dislike running, because I grew up in Kenya, and in Kenya they made us run so much that I think I've run enough for my lifetime. So cycling is the best thing, and cycling is fun,
Yeah. Well, in Kenya, if you run, you have to become like a world champion. There's so many great runners.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be a runner in Kenya.
Yeah, it's like playing ice hockey here. You can be the best ice hockey player in your town.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because there's someone out there who's better than you. And I mean, I wasn't even like the perfect runner. It's just that I realized that for me, my strength is long distance. Anything that's long distance and mental and this and that. And that's why I like it, because first and foremost, it's a challenge, for myself to see if I can do it. Mm-hmm. And then the rest is just, All
right. Okay, my people, let's take a short break. It's a challenge of endurance, my people. Stay tuned. You and I talk show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back in studio, still talking to Jabik. So, how are you financing this? This is not, people may think that riding a bike is cheap, but riding a bike across the country.
Yeah, it's expensive, and it takes a lot of money, and basically I took all my savings, and I sold my car. I sold, I pretty much
sold your car.
Yes, I sold my car, and I got basically rid of all my expenses. And also I sell some, merchandise, and and I get people who just say, "Oh, we like what you're doing. Here is some, we'd like to support, And especially it comes from people who are, men or women who wish they could do what I do, but they never got to do it because, you know, either health or family. So they're like, you know what, you go and do it for me.
Yes. It's, I mean, everybody feels like, okay, there's somebody doing it, I'll have to do it.
Yeah. So they're like, you know what, I can't do it, but you go do it. And that really is, you know, it's very nice, but it's also additional pressure. Because sometimes when I'm sitting on the side of the road and I'm like, man, I can't take it anymore, I'm tired, I'm going home. I'm like, I know, I can't be a loser, you know. There are people counting on me and there are people who are rooting for me. Let me just keep going.
Okay, so you have to do it for all of us. Because I'm never going to do this.
Well, next time, I'm never going to do it either.
This is your first time and your last time.
The next country I may circle is going to be the Vatican, you know, 3 kilometers around and that 10 minutes and it's going to be done. I'm never going to do something like this again.
Yeah.
But never say never.
You can afford to do this. You're still young, you're still healthy, you're in shape. And then also, let's talk about what you're wearing, because this is what you're wearing when you're cycling across the country. This is what you're wearing. Well, but this is your own brand, though, the Deep and Dope.
Yeah, I mean, like the hoodie and the shorts, I just put them on here because I was outside and I don't want to look, you know, I look weird in tights. But basically, I just wear my tights and, you know, like a jersey and a jacket. It's a very good, you know, it's very light clothes. It's a very light setup. And it can actually go up to -30 as long as I'm moving. I can't just be standing around. I need to be exercising, you know, I need to be making an effort. Otherwise, I get cold very quickly.
And why winter, though? Why couldn't you have done this in the summer? Because there's no challenge in the summer. Like, it's even more challenging, more exceptional to do it in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, because I wanted to make it something challenging. Because I don't need to respect. I've seen a lot of people, I've read about a lot of people who cycle across Canada. And I'm like, you know, let me just do something crazy and see if it can be done. Because the first time I presented the ideas to everybody, everyone said, it can't be done, you're crazy. That was like, okay, you know what, if it can't be done, that's just speculation. Nobody's tried. Let's just figure out if it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so the other thing that I saw that you said is that you also wanted to connect with smaller communities across Canada. How did you find the Canadians in all those small places that you went? And is this something that you feel like can only be done in Canada because Canada is a safe country? I mean, apart from Toronto.
Well,
and the neighboring of Toronto and Greater Toronto.
Burlington, because the Torontonians get offended. So basically, the one thing I found
But Vancouver people like to offend Toronto people, so.
I'm from Montreal and we're nearby, so I'm just going to be neutral. So what happened is that there's a stereotype about Canadians being super nice. That has proved to be true 1,000%.
Wow.
It is crazy. Like sometimes, like for instance, sometimes I like to sit on the side of the road because, you know, cycling is tiring, and sometimes I like to sit on the side of the road and just have my lunch. All the cars, everybody stops. Are you all right? Is everything okay? Everything? Do you have a place to stay? Do you have this and that? Do you have this and that? And one thing I've been doing is I've been going across Canada, and I don't camp because I'm scared to sleep outside. I'm scared of wild animals. So I've been staying at people's houses, and it's people I've never met. So basically, I go on the internet and I found people who are willing to welcome travelers, and they host me and they feed me and they take care of me, and you know it's crazy. They've been so generous and so nice, and I've met so many people. I mean, thank God for social media because I keep in touch with them, and it's crazy how the stereotype is true that Canadians are just so nice.
Wow, so and Canadians are even better than advertised.
I mean, it's even better because, and the crazy thing is that I was thinking, which other country could that pull this off?
Exactly.
And I was thinking, I mean, and also, I don't want to bring race into a whole issue, but, you know, I mean, Canadians, they don't care. You know, at first I thought, you know, maybe I'm a black man, you know, is it going to be an issue? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
For them, they see, oh, some guy on a bicycle, he's doing something crazy. He needs a place to sleep. Yeah. Let's just host him, put him up.
But I wonder if you would be able to do the same thing across the United States, for example.
The United States,
I don't think it's as open.
First of all, the United States, people will, I mean, I don't want to make stereotypes, but there are some places I wouldn't be able to go because, you know.
They'll shoot you.
They'll drive me down, you know. And also, but it's unfair to say that. I don't know, you know, I've never tried. But Canada is very safe. Like, for instance, at one stage, I mean, I ended up in the hospital, and I just went to the hospital in Ontario. Or they just called me an out-of-province guy, and I told them, no, my name is Jabig. Don't call me out-of-province guy. My name is Jabig. If you want to call me out-of-province guy, don't say it when I'm here. And I went in there, got checked out. You know, I gave them a health card from Quebec, and they said, you know, they treated me, and I was out of there. You know, that's something. In the US, it would have cost me what, 1 billion?
Yeah. Don't get sick in the US.
Yeah. And then, of course, in Europe, I couldn't, you know, in Europe I could do that, but then, you know, Europe is, I mean, it's also very mountainy, it's more complex, but, so Canada is the perfect country to do that.
Yeah, it is. In Africa, we think you're crazy. We would think you're crazy. And after the break, I'll ask you about how your African people feel about this.
Excellent.
All right, my people, we'll be right back.
With Louise UWACU, we love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show.
All right, my people, we're back. This is our last segment with Jabig. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being so bold. I mean, this is a bold thing, and it really shows how you have so much mental strength and endurance, like you were saying, because this is about mental strength and character and endurance to be able to do this. So how are your African people? What are your African people saying about this? Because I'm thinking African people would think this is crazy to the maximum.
Well, you have to understand, even Canadians, guys who were born here, guys who go into like camping in winter. When I said this, I was doing this, they were like, you're crazy. So my African friends, it didn't even register. They were like, what are you doing? But for them, they were like, okay, fine, he's saying that. He'll be back in 1 day. They said, you know, like for instance, I had told somebody to help me move from apartment. And the person said, you know what, I'm going to take my time because this guy's going to be back by the weekend. So let me just take my time. But as I kept going, they realized, who knows? And the good thing, though, is that at least it's gotten a lot of people saying, you know what, this winter business, perhaps you should give it a try. Because one of the things we do as new Canadians is that we tend to sort of like hide away from winter. And then, well, in Canada, it's a really long time. And the one thing I've learned is that the best way not to get cold is actually to go outside and be active. Yeah, so little by little, I see like some Africans saying, okay, let's try some new activities. But first, but they were just like, you're just crazy. What about bears? What about this? What about that? And I'm like, trust me, I'm still scared of that.
Yeah.
But it turns out that, most of the fears are just in the head. I've had some close calls with life. And I don't want to give specific examples because my parents would be watching this.
Yeah.
But, but it's, anything can happen, you know what I mean? You can be sitting at home and then you drink something, you choke on it. Yeah.
So, but when you tell this to your parents, are they not so scared for you? Like, what are they saying?
Well, my parents, I mean, I don't want to put them out there, but they were really scared. They were like, they thought I was going on a suicide mission. But I told them, you have to know I'm the biggest coward, and staying alive is something that's, it's something that's important to me. And it's one of those things, it's something that it's one of those things that looks dangerous until you do it. But after they realized, now they're okay. Now, now they're like, oh, where are you going? And, now they're like, oh, how long are you going to rest before you go to the Arctic? They spoke about it as if it was like very casual. Meanwhile, people are like, you go to the Arctic? My parents were like, oh, how long are you going to relax before you go to the Arctic? So, they've gotten used to it, and they realized also they got to see that, maybe the sun has some sort of strength that they didn't know about.
Oh, yeah, eventually they'll be so proud of you when you're in the Guinness World Record. So when will you find out that that you're in? Well, because
I need to do some little distance and then basically break the record and then send them the documents the proof to say that I did all the distance, which is the GPS distances, and then they're going to study it, and then they're going to send me, pretty much my certificate.
Oh my goodness! So to the young kids who are watching you, who want to grow up and do what you're doing, eventually somebody else will be like, oh, Jabig did it. so I'm going to do it as well. What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them just that. I did it. I wasn't an experienced cyclist. I'm just a DJ, and I'm a guy who's like physically weak, and I just went out there and did it. If it sounds crazy, go out there and do it. It will be done. It can be done.
Yeah. And what is keeping you going? What is your motivation?
Well, my motivation is it's really childish. You know, I don't like looking ridiculous. I mean, I started this. I don't want people making fun of me, so you know, and I started it, made a big noise about it, and now I need to finish.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, how are you going to feel? So how are you going to take your bike back to Montreal? You're not gonna cycle back there, you know?
No, well,
how are you gonna put it on a plane?
I'll probably put it on a train or whatever, or you know. But I think when I'm done, I'm gonna take my bike and go somewhere warm in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, you know, go in those countries and, you know, take my bike with me. You know, enjoy being a tourist. Like very light cycling.
And so you're also going to be DJing in Vancouver. Let's before we end, let's shout out to you DJing in Vancouver at.
I'll be playing at Fortune Sound Club, which is I'm going to be playing the small room because I have some fans here and they wanted to hear me play. So I can't wait.
All right, Ja, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
This is so bold.
Thank
All
you.
right, my people, go out there and do something so bold that makes you feel like all your childhood friends were so wrong about you, about thinking that you're weak. My people, prove us wrong. All right, thank you.